Guys, what if I told you that heat damaged hair could be healthy? What if I told you that this was my hair in July 2023 before I started my straight hair journey, and this is my hair in December 2023, just 5 months later? What if I told you that with today's availability of products that make it possible to maintain straight hair? And if you don't believe me, Queen Latifah has maintained a blonde silk press for 30 plus years. Need I say more? Now I'm saying this as somebody who absolutely loves and adored my texture, kinks, curls and coils for years on end, and made the decision to become a straight haired natural this year, being 2023. It might even be 2024 by the time this is up. By the way, Happy New Year. So here are a few things that we need to make sure that we are doing to our heat damaged hair to maintain that health and to maintain that length. So the first thing you guys want to understand, if you're trying to maintain heat damaged hair, I feel like I don't even like calling it heat damage, but damage is in quotations, but I can't keep doing this the entire video. So damage. The first thing that you need to understand about heat damaged hair is how it happens. Now I have a complete separate video that discusses how heat damage happens, at what temperature it happens, and if you haven't watched that, I strongly recommend that you watch that as well, to really understand when you're interacting with heat with your hair, at what point you're going to cause irreversible damage to your hair, and at what point your hair will be able to withstand the heat and also bounce back. That's really super important. Lesson number one. If you are using heat all willy-nilly with no education on what the heat is actually doing to your hair, of course it's going to become so irreversibly damaged that it's not even worth repairing. But if you are being responsible with the amount of heat that you're using, it's absolutely possible to maintain that length. One of the main characteristics of heat damaged hair, I'm not going to go into too much detail, is that it lacks protein. Okay, protein is what makes up majority of our hair. It's what strengthens our hair. It's what gives our hair its structure. Protein is so important to our hair. Now, I know that a lot of naturalistas hate protein because protein overload and protein sensitivity, and if you haven't watched my video, I'm going to be mentioning a lot of videos because a lot of things link together, and I feel like for the people that have watched those videos, I don't want to repeat myself. So ladies, so if you haven't watched my video on why your natural hair needs lots of protein, this applies to both being a straight haired natural and a curly haired natural, please go and watch that guy and fix the relationship that you have with protein in your natural hair. And I'll give you an example, right? In case you're already thinking,
oh, she don't know me, I'm protein sensitive, she don't know my hair.
Let's think about it this way. Our body is it's simple but complex. When you go to the gym, what are the gym girlies always telling you that you need to repair your muscles? Protein. You need a high protein diet. You want to eat protein. People are eating protein shakes. Protein is such a crucial part of repairing all areas of our body, not just our hair, our muscles, and it's showcased in other parts of our body. So please, guys, if there's anything you want to take away, go and watch that video on why your natural hair needs lots of protein. So now we've got protein out of the way. Everybody says you need to baby your ends. You need to baby your ends. Your ends are your babies. Cap. Okay, it's not cap. Your ends are your babies. They are the oldest part of your hair. You need to make sure you are giving them a little bit of extra TLC, okay? But the real thing you want to baby is your cuticles and your cuticle layers, okay? Your cuticle layers are what separates the cortex, the inner layers of your hair, from the environment. It's what protects your hair from its damage. Think of your cuticle layer as like your skin barrier, right? If you're into skincare, like me, you're constantly trying to repair that skin barrier, right? To make sure that your skin is not prone to damage, because that barrier is going to help to protect it. Think of your cuticles as your barrier, okay? The barrier that stops damage from heat, the barrier that stops damage from the UV rays, the barrier that stops damage from outside environmental pests, extreme weather conditions, everything like that. Your cuticle layer is your baby. One of the reasons why it's so hard for black people in general to retain moisture is because we have highly porous hair, because we don't have as many cuticle layers as other races. Now, if you guys haven't watched my video on why black people don't and can't have low porosity hair, really controversial, but I'm gonna have that link down below because I think it's so important to actually understand the structure of the hair before we start talking about porosity in general, okay? In fact, I think I'm gonna do a separate video that really breaks it down. But the number of cuticle layers that the average black person, this was based on an African American study, by the way, before someone jumps in and says,
not everybody's African.
We only have on average 3 layers of cuticles. Okay, now just to compare that against an Asian person, they have 8 layers of cuticles, which is why a lot of the times Asian hair can be a lot more resilient to damage in that sense. It's why a lot of the times you find that Caucasian people can straighten their hair every single day and their hair might get a little bit damaged, but trust me, if you were me and you straightened your hair every single day, it would not be giving. Because with all the things that I've said in mind, the first thing you need to make sure that you are doing to your heat damaged hair is using protein. Now, a lot of the times people think protein is like one big mega protein treatment, Afro-G style, okay? No, cut that out. You don't even need that. That is for when your hair has gone to like a really, really mushy point of no return. We're not even trying to get to the point where we need the Afro-G 2-step protein treatment. If your hair is extremely damaged, fine, reach for it. But the way I mean we need protein is little and often. Hence why I mean you need a shampoo that contains hydrolyzed keratin. You need a conditioner that contains hydrolyzed protein. You need a leave-in conditioner that is strengthening, okay? Every product within your hair routine should have some sort of strengthening properties, and that is the little and often approach that I'm talking about. That little and often approach is going to be an absolute game changer in terms of continuously strengthening your hair and retaining that length. Your cuticles are made of protein. They're actually made of over 80% cysteine, which is an amino acid. Okay, nowadays products that contain cysteine are now becoming a lot more popular because people are now starting to understand the importance of building that cuticular structure and maintaining that outer barrier of your hair. When you're using products that protein, they build on the outside barrier of your hair, which is then going to also help to protect you from further damage. So not only do proteins repair damage, but they also help to prevent damage, which is exactly what we want to be doing when we are consistently using heat on our hair. We don't want to wait until our hair's gone to the point of no return to then try start packing in those protein treatments, okay? We want to repair and we want to prevent heat damage. Next thing you want to make sure that you're using, guys, is bond builders, okay? Now, bond builders are a new technology to the market, relatively new, like maybe in the last like 5-10 years, right? So it's not something that has been around forever, and I totally understand people's skepticism when it comes to bond builders. It's like people have been growing long hair without this for decades. And it's true, they have been. Bond builders do something that absolutely nothing else on the market does for our hair, and that is repairing the bonds. That is so, so crucial if you want to maintain and grow heat damaged hair, that you are repairing the bonds that are still holding your hair together. That will help to improve your elasticity so that your hair bounces back and is not as much prone to breakage. So those are my two favorite bond builders that I've been switching between, Olaplex number 0 and the Red Kent acidic bonding. What I will say is that the Olaplex number 0, you can see the results immediately. You spray that thing on your hair and curls will appear where there were no curls. But the Red Kent acidic bonding, what I will say is you don't see an immediate effect, but I think with long-term use, you really start to see, oh, it's working. So use bond builders, guys. Don't be afraid to use bond builders. See how your hair likes them and use them, obviously within moderation. Circling back to babying your cuticles, guys, you want to make sure that you are using low pH products, okay? So we know that our cuticles have different positions. Sometimes they can be more open, sometimes they can be more closed. You want to make sure that you are keeping your cuticles in the most sealed position that they can be, because the minute they open that slightly wider than what they naturally are, your hair becomes more porous, your hair can be more prone to dryness and things like that. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your cuticles as sealed as possible, because this also helps to protect your hair. When we look at the cuticle layers at different pHs, we can see that as you get to a higher pH, the cuticle layer opens wider and wider. So you want to make sure that you're reaching for products that aren't going to open your cuticles wider and wider. You want to make sure that you're using products that are going to keep your cuticle position in the optimum position so that you can retain whatever moisture it is you're putting in your hair. The highest pH product that I use on my hair right now is 5.5, which is crazy because I used to use products that were like neutral, like 7 pH, which was like, whoa. Crazy. Acidic products are a lot harder to work with, so you'll find that the products that have a good pH will be the higher end salon brands. I think I even did a video that showed that like 90% of salon brands or something like that, a really high percentage of salon brands had low pH products, and a lot of drugstore brands, what am I talking about? Guys, drugstore doesn't come naturally to me. We don't say that in the UK. We call it a chemist. Drugstore brands have a higher pH, which isn't as good for your hair, but is a lot easier to work with from a formulation perspective. So honestly, guys, invest in your hair products. Like, expensive doesn't always mean better, but when it comes to hair product, like, don't skimp out. All right, guys, I'm a cheapskate myself. I'm a cheapskate. If you know me in real life, I'm a cheapskate, but with my hair, I'm a spend. The only product really that should have the highest pH is your shampoo, and that's because a lot of shampoos work by slightly opening the cuticle to clean out that hair strand, and your conditioner should have a lower pH than your shampoo to seal that cuticle back in the position that it was prior to shampooing. So just check that. Next time you're looking at your products, just check that. So guys, that is pretty much it. I'm almost 100% certain there's going to be a part 2 of this video, because genuinely I feel like there's so much I feel like I should have covered, but I didn't. But yeah, as I mentioned, I'm obviously still on my journey. I absolutely loved my curls for a long period of time, but this is me now, straight head natural, just passing on what has really worked for me. So guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.